Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. Now, a lot of you will ask, why do I pull out trinaries and why do I pull out quads? First and foremost, I do that because I'm trying to find matched serial numbers. By saving trinaries and quads, I only have to save a certain number of notes out of all of the notes that I have. For instance, here's 1,000 singles. I'm not going to save 1,000 singles and try to match serial numbers with the next 1,000 notes that I get. That's crazy. At some point, you actually have to spend money. But you'll notice how many trinaries and how many quads I pull out of the 1,000. Not many, just a small handful. Which means now I'm only saving a smaller number of notes with a much smaller profile of numbers, making it much easier for me to find notes with the same serial number. Now, the second reason I save trinaries and quads, and the reason I put them on the videos, is because trinaries, for instance, they don't have any additional value. They're neat, but they're one-off notes. And that's not even true. They're actually two-off notes. A trinary is one off of a binary. A binary only has two digits. But a true binary is the number you're looking for, which would be zeros and ones. People had a very, very, very difficult time finding true binaries with zeros and ones, so they started collecting notes with just any two digits and called those binaries. That's why we have true binary and why we have just a regular binary. Now, even then, those regular binaries are still hard to find, and people don't like looking through thousands of notes and not finding anything at all. So they started saving notes that had 3 different digits, calling them trinaries. And as you can see, I find 3 to 10 of them every single week. Well, if I can find 3 to 10 of them every single week, they're not rare. But that's why I save them. Now, the other part of that is now you get to see how many of those non-collectible trinaries are in every 1,000 that I search. That should give you an idea of how much harder it is to find a regular binary, and even more so how much harder it is to find a true binary, and so on down the line. With quads, once again, if I pull out every quad and out of 1,000 notes, I've got 5 or 6 of them. If I found 5 of a kind, obviously I'm going to pull that. But I didn't. So by pulling the quads shows you how tough it is to find 5 of a kind, or 6 of a kind, or 7 of a kind. If I go through this many and can't find those notes, that's the whole reason why I show you guys the number of quads and the number of trinaries, just to give you a feel of what's actually rare. None of us would say that a trinary is worth money. None of us would say that quads are worth money. And yet, out of 1,000 notes, I might find, like I said, 5 to 10 of them. So some of you may think that trinaries and quads are worth money. No, they are not, because they are very common. But very common means I'm going to find a few of them in 1,000. So keep that in mind. If I'm looking through thousands of notes, and these are the best that I come up with, well, think of the things that I find that I'm not showing you. All right. That's my $1,000 there. This is part 3 of my Vegas find series. I brought home 4,000 notes from Vegas. This is the third group. These are from the these are from the Strip, the lower end Strip casinos. This is Circus Circus, the Stratosphere, Excalibur, New York, Park MGM, the Link, Harrah's, Tropicana, and the Luxor. That's what these were, so let's get them out of the way and see what finds we have today. Starting off with an alternator. This has 7 as the alternator. 6707, 6757. So every other digit's a 7. Found a birthday note, 1973. This is either February 7th or July 2nd, 1973. Another birthday note, that would be December 23rd, 2016. Another birthday note, either January 9th or September 1st, 1983. And it's got a little bit of a inking thing on there. That's not an error. That's a stamp. Some trinaries, 2s, 4s, and 6s. 3s, 4s, and 8s. 4s, 6s, and 7s. 1s, 8s, and 9s. And then quads. Quad zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, quad zeros. Quad 1s on this one. Quad 4s. Quad 6s, and it's a trinary, 5s, 6s, and 9s. Quad 7s, pretty rough shape. And some stars. This one starts with a couple zeros, so I got high hopes for that. We'll see. Anytime I see a lower number star number, I always get a little hopeful. Always also checking to make sure that the stars are not filled in. They're not supposed to be. Another 2017. 2017. Another lower number, 00. Another lower number, 009 on that one from 2017. 2013. Another 2013, pretty rough shape. 2013B, one of the potential duplicated notes. Another 2013B. And another 3 of them this week. Some people are selling these for $10 to $20 a piece, so apparently I just found $60 worth of notes. Older notes. Here's a 2003A. Rough shape on that one. Another one. Better color, better paper, still lots of damage. Probably not going to keep it. This one's in much better shape. 2003. 2001, that's pretty rough. 1999. 1995, not a web note. Another 1995, also not a web note. And the oldest note I found, this one is from 1974. I picked up this one at Harrah's. I made sure to mark that one down. So, finding a note in the 70s, that's always good. Now, you'll notice that the lower end casinos do tend to have a lot more finds than the higher end. And I did actually have another find. This one came from New York, New York, and I put it in a case, so it must be something interesting. It's a binary. 00303000, zeros and threes, a binary. Not quite a true binary, half a true binary. If those threes were ones, that would have been pretty cool. If that 3 was switched with that 0, then it would have been a radar, which would have been extremely cool. If this 3 was over here, I mean, a lot of ifs and buts on this one, but still a very cool note, especially since it has so many zeros. Those just make these really collectible. All right, so that's what I found this week. What did I pull out from my box? I got a great auction item. I couldn't believe that I was able to get this. I don't know that I got it because it was mispriced. I think I got it because it was misunderstood. This is a Spinner fractional currency. This is the 3rd issue Spinner fractional currency. I want to say 1869 on 3rd issues. I can double check that one in the book. And it's graded. That's the cool thing about it. It's a graded note, graded 58 apparent. Let's see, choice about new. It says apparent edge tear at the bottom left. And I'm looking, what do we got here? Anything? If I look at the back. Yeah, I can't really notice. I don't know. Is that, I don't know. I'm not even too worried about that because there's a lot of other extremely special things about this note that I want to talk to you about. First of all, what is this? It's fractional currency from the Civil War. During the Civil War, the people were hoarding precious metals. They did not want to spend change. They wanted to hoard it. Therefore, when it came to making change, it was extremely difficult to do. So Abraham Lincoln got together with Spinner, General Spinner, he was the treasurer, and they came up with an idea for fractional currency. They called it postal currency to start with. Basically, they were simply spending postage stamps. That was kind of the idea. There was postal currency. There was actually encased postage stamps, first of all, which looked like change. But then they went to actual pieces of currency that they called postal currency, and eventually this became known as you can see here, fractional currency. They went through a number of different series. Like I said, this one here is the third issue, and it says Spinner on it because Spinner, who was in charge of doing all these notes, was running out of people to put on notes. So he put himself on the note. So yes, General F.E. Spinner put himself, and that's him right there, put himself on the note. So what else is cool about this note? Well, aside from it being graded, aside from it doing that, maybe you saw when I turned it over, but the back doesn't have anything printed on it. The light is making this note look a little transparent, but there's nothing on the back. Why? It's a specimen note. It's a specimen note. This is not spendable currency. This was a specimen note. That's just amazing. That's why there is no back on it. Now, they made two types of specimens. They made some with really wide borders, which are worth a ton. And then you have the narrow borders, which aren't worth as much. This one's obviously a narrow border. And just to think about that for a little bit, if the narrow border was worth more, then anytime you found a wide border, you'd just cut it down to a narrow. That's why the wide border is worth so much more. Now we're going to take this a step further. Yes, it's fractional currency from the Civil War. Yes, it's a specimen note. Yes, it's graded, and yes, it's graded pretty high. But it gets better. Look at those signatures. Do you see the signatures? More importantly, this signature. The reason why I say that, if you look, the ink is rusted. You can see orange rust surrounding the signature. That's the ink oxidizing, because this is not a printed signature. That is General F.E. Spinner's actual autograph. He hand-signed these notes. The Register of the Treasury also signed the note too. That's a real signature there. But that is Spinner's real autograph. He autographed all of the specimen notes. That is amazing. When you have a story about a guy whose signature, first and foremost, is just one of the more amazing signatures. He used a calligraphy pen to get these wide marks. So, I mean, he's very extra that way. But this is the actual signature, not a replica of a signature that you'd find on most notes. One of the other things I want to point out about this note is this portion right here and here. Now, what that is they actually did that print in glue, and they used a bronzing powder, okay? That was their anti-counterfeiting measure on these notes. Using bronzing powder was a very messy way to do things on this particular thing, and most of the notes, that bronzing powder has, well, bronze will turn green after years. This, you can see the bronze held its condition so far, and now that it's encased in here, it should stay that way. This is an incredible piece of history that I am so proud to own, and I got it for $100 at the auction because people didn't realize, I guess, that it was a specimen, and people didn't realize that that was his actual signature. Now, I'm going to take out the book here and show you what I've got, what I found. Here is, well, this is a collector's guide to postage and fractional currency. This is one of the books that I had just gotten. Brian, thank you for this book, of course. And let's see, here is the picture of Spinner. That's the note, and you can see all the different varieties. And of course, we are looking for the proof third issue. This one is, where'd it go? Check the number, 1330 ASP. So if we look here, 1330 ASP, my choice is one of these two, 1330 ASP. There's a wide margin, there's a narrow margin. Mine is AU, and even this book puts AU at $250, with choice and circulated being $400. And that's exactly what the big book says as well, about $400 for this particular note in that condition. If it was the Wide margin, you're talking well over $3,000. So that's what I've got for you guys this week. My Spinner Specimen note. If you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. Love reading all your comments. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.